Well, we've been doing a lot of Souls-like discussion recently, now haven't we? It's not my fault there's a lot of different ways to talk about them, given their relevance as well as my love for the genre, if it is a genre. Are Souls-likes and Souls-alites, is that a genre or a descriptor? Is this an actual genre, or is it like the open world thing, where it's not really a genre, more like a descriptor? That was such a dumb question. I'm gonna cut that part. But my primary audience on this channel is here to see me make fun of people getting upset over video games one way or another, and Souls-likes sure are a good thing for that, at least. You know, sometimes over here we make fun of PlayStation fanboys, sometimes it's Nintendo fanboys, sometimes it's just console fanboys in general. But recently there's been an epidemic of horrendous takes about Souls-like games, Elden Ring in particular, going around Twitter, and darn it if that doesn't scratch the same kind of fanboy content itch for me, which is a good enough way for me to preface the fact that this is yet another video of people being salty about Elden Ring for the dumbest reasons imaginable. Because people just won't stop yelling about this game that they apparently don't even like. So the other day, and by that I mean close to a month ago, I started writing this video a while back and then just got distracted for like 3 weeks, but we're finishing it now, so just go with me on this one. The other day, the director of Helldivers 2 decided to chime in on the whole "are FromSoft games too hard" debate, and took the correct side by saying that games should always be catering to a certain audience, and that a game for everyone is a game for no one. And of course the internet yelled at him for saying this, but before we get into that, I want to reiterate that this sentiment is very important for creators to have, and it's part of the reason that I and so many other people love the Souls-like / Souls-light genre. None of the challenges are insurmountable, just try a different strategy if you're getting stonewalled. Or if you're really getting your ass kicked, find a handful of bonfires that you like and just run between them and grind levels to make yourself stronger, both by literally increasing your stats, but also just by getting better at the core gameplay. Souls-likes and Souls-lights have some of the most satisfying gameplay of any video game, largely because there's no way to change the difficulty, and that makes it all the more awesome to finally make progress after getting stonewalled, because everyone who plays these games went up against the same challenges, and we all had our own journeys getting past them. We all went on this journey in our own way, but ultimately we all came out the other side. And there's something unique about that other genres just don't really have. Souls-likes don't have difficulty settings for the most part, because the experience is so meticulously crafted for that cathartic payoff, and that payoff wouldn't be the same if there was a way to just make it easier. The thing that a lot of people don't understand about From Software's games and the other good non-FromSoft Souls-like games is that they are very conscious of the fact that the difficulty of the game does not have to be a setting, and they can use that universal difficulty as part of the world building and part of the world itself. You have to feel vulnerable and outmatched at first for the payoff of a Souls-like to hit correctly. But now that I've talked your ear off about why Souls-likes are so uniquely addicting, let's go back to this statement from the director of Helldivers 2. "A game for everyone is a game for no one." Stated at a time when it seems that like the internet's general distaste for difficult games is at an all-time high. Like there's a lot of disdain for Souls-likes and for Elden Ring specifically right now from the same types of people who always want experiences crafted to them instead of allowing the creator to have a vision and see it through. The types of people that Ubisoft has in mind when they create the play it your way sandboxes. Games that have no true vision and are meant to appeal to as many people as humanly possible by not committing to any one vision that might possibly be seen as oppressive to literally anyone at any time. The best games in the world are the ones that had a vision for the gameplay loop and that stuck to them without compromising the experience so they could appeal to people who probably weren't going to be into it in the first place. And not only does From Software get that, but so does the director of Helldivers 2. But you know who doesn't get that? A lot of people who saw this post from IGN. So come along with me, dear viewer, as we look through some of the angriest and saltiest responses to this quote from the Helldivers 2 director, and we can all just have a nice juicy laugh together. Because we're almost 8 months into 2024, and we're still somehow doing the hard games are inherently bad thing, or that making a game for everyone doesn't limit the design. We are still making this argument. Like Elden Ring was at an all-time most popular point, and Souls-likes in general are seemingly getting more popular by the year, and yet there are still so many people who just don't want to get it. so let's make fun of them. MFDB says, I agree with the initial sentiment about Elden Ring's difficulty, but a game for everyone is a game for no one makes no sense. A game for everyone is a game for everyone. Look, what he's saying when he says a game for everyone is a game for no one, and I'm surprised I actually have to explain this because I thought we were all on the same page about this. What he's saying is that choosing to design a game in a way that anybody can play is in itself a choice to exclude a certain audience, that being the audience that wants a deliberately challenging or more intricate experience. And designing games in that broad way is obnoxious because it means you can't commit to a certain vision because that certain vision might not be compatible with everyone's vision, or at least the vision of the broadest audience humanly possible. A game for everyone cannot commit to any one thing because that one commitment might not be the thing that the largest possible demographic would have committed effort to, and therefore cannot actually be for any one audience. A game for everyone is a game for no one, and if you don't like a certain game, just play a different one. But demanding a game change for the sake of your interests is a boneheaded thing to say, especially since we all know that the people calling for games like Elden Ring to have difficulty settings or to be easier, these same people are not the kind of people who would be okay with someone outside of their gaming circles telling them how their game needs to fundamentally be. Oh, but don't worry, we'll get into that a little later. This video just gets progressively worse as we go. Stick around. At Nice Mr. Based Lit says, shit, I guess Nintendo's been making games for no one for over 30 years. Someone give them the memo. I resent this idea that a lot of people have about Nintendo making games for everyone, because Nintendo does not make games for everyone. They make games with a very wide appeal because they're very casual and approachable, but that doesn't mean they're for everyone. Because when you look at the designs of Nintendo games, they're all very meticulous, despite being very approachable for a casual gamer. When you look at Nintendo's biggest sales successes, it's games like Breath of the Wild, and Mario Kart, and Super Smash Bros., and whatever the latest mainline Mario game is called. These are all games that sell tremendously and appeal to very casual audience as well as more hardcore gamers, and yet that doesn't mean they are games for everyone, because these games are all very dead set on the way they are designed, and even Nintendo games will exclude some demographics of gamers. Not everyone likes the Breath of the Wild formula of Zelda. Not everyone likes the Super Mario Galaxy formula of Super Mario games. Now, sometimes the way Nintendo games are designed can feel like they're for everyone, but really they're just games with a lower barrier to entry than most. They're games that a lot of people can easily get into because they are, by design, easy to get into. That is not the same as being made for everyone, the way that other companies use the phrase and the way that you are portraying it in this tweet. Other AAA publishers use phrases like games for everyone or play it however you want as an excuse to underdevelop their concepts and not fully commit to a certain gameplay philosophy out of fear of being yelled at for it being too hard or too complicated. And that unwillingness to commit to a direction results in games that all feel interchangeable with one another because they're all boring as fuck for the same reasons. All the while, Nintendo is crushing it with their games for everyone because when they make a game for everyone, it's not actually a game for everyone. It is a very specific vision for a game. And that specific vision just happens to have a more casual barrier to entry. And a more casual barrier to entry does not make it for everyone. I don't know how I can make it even simpler than this, but that's why saying Nintendo games makes games for everyone in the same way that they're talking about it in the original thread, it's a really stupid thing to say. You probably shouldn't say it again. Hello, I'm interrupting this video to remind you that this channel is sponsored by 4D Gaming. If you would like a really nice mousepad, go to 4dgaming.com and use code JOE for a discount. This channel is also sponsored by Glitch Energy. It's basically G Fuel, but better, so go to Glitch Energy and use code JOE for a discount. Thank you for letting me interrupt your content. I'll let you keep watching it now. Mr. Ego says, I mean, it's a cool tagline, but doesn't line up with reality. The most successful games usually have a pretty low barrier to entry, with a few exceptions. Even Elden Ring has significantly more options for new players compared to their older titles. Yes, exactly. Elden Ring appeals to more players than other FromSoft games in ways other than deliberately trying to make itself anything other than what the vision is. Elden Ring is definitive proof, and a lot of the Souls games and FromSoft games are definitive proof that the idea of difficulty settings being a necessity for accessibility just isn't true, because there are people of all levels of gamer getting into these games, and basically anyone of any previous gamer skill level can beat these games. The difficulty settings can literally be worked into the mechanics of a game if you know what you're doing as a designer. And that's what makes FromSoft experiences all the more fulfilling. This tweet is just, it's so obnoxious because you're literally comparing gameplay elements of Elden Ring that make the game easier. You're comparing those gameplay elements to difficulty settings, which are a completely different thing. Like, you acknowledge what makes the game design so great and then immediately imply that it's a problem. Like, what? NKWB says, here's another one who doesn't like money. That's right, the Helldivers 2 developers don't like money. They're not making money. They're doing a thing that's working for them, and they're defending the mindsets that got them there because, obviously. But no, that's an indication that they don't like money. They're good at making money, and their mindsets and philosophies are the reason why they're good at making money, but also they don't like making money. You are a very smart person, yes. Ken Mathis says, I hear there is this new gaming technology called a checks notes game difficulty option he might want to look into. He has looked into them, and he doesn't want them there. But yes, Twitter doofus, continue to lecture the actual successful game designers about the aspects of game design that they just couldn't possibly understand, but you could. Whatever will they do without your insight, oh random person on Twitter telling the successful game designer that they need to change their approach to game design. This is great. This is a wonderful use of the internet. Allhaven says, that makes zero sense. The game being hard makes it for everyone? I didn't think Souls-like games were for everyone. Yeah, that's his whole point. They're not for everyone, and they're better for it. That's the whole point. Can you fucking read? Cat Noir says, can we then please take out all difficulties below Nightmare in the next Doom? I feel like the presence of difficulties that I won't use means the game won't be for me anymore somehow. Look, Doom makes more sense to have difficulty settings than Elden Ring. It's a linear first-person shooter, and there isn't really any way to get through it on higher difficulties without being good at a specific playstyle. That's the way the game was designed to be. That was a deliberate choice. But Doom, both Doom Eternal and Doom 2016, it's basically unplayable at a normal difficulty if you're not good at first-person shooters, or at least competent in first-person shooters. Elden Ring does not have that same design philosophy. Doom has difficulty settings because that's how the designers work you up to the intended experience, which is the higher difficulties. Elden Ring doesn't need difficulty settings because it's not a linear first-person shooter. It's an open-world action RPG with a million different playstyles, many of which are perfectly viable for players who aren't good at a specific kind of real-time video game combat. Both of these are deliberate design choices. Doom is designed to eventually be a hard, challenging experience in a very specific way, but it's not going to just stonewall anyone who isn't already good at that specific way, and thus it has difficulty settings. Elden Ring is designed to be one cohesive world, and one of the ways that it immerses you in that world is it does the thing that you would do if you were dropped into a hostile world that you didn't know. You would find a survival strategy that works for you. Again, this has nothing to do with difficulty settings and their existence in some games versus others. It has everything to do with whether or not a game designer is obligated to cater to a certain audience when bringing their vision to life, regardless of how seamless or not seamless it would be to the actual experience. Like, really, it comes down to that. You didn't design it, you don't get to say what it does and doesn't have. Like, I could write all the paragraphs I want about the details and the whole nitty-gritty of the situation, but really, it should start and stop there. It's not your vision. They don't have to make it your vision. Razgriz says, agree to disagree. It's true for some games, even more nowadays, where companies are castrated and forced to change franchises for people that never played the game and alienate old customers, making the whole thing fail. But there are games for everyone. Example, Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is not for everyone, my friend. I don't enjoy Animal Crossing. It's just not my kind of game. And that's not the game's fault. Nor do I want the game to change to accommodate my interests. Like, this is what's so funny to me about the whole debate here. And this is how you know that the people complaining that Elden Ring isn't accessible enough, or like, oh, it's not untrue that it can't be for everyone. Like, this is how you know that they're really just complaining about the game being too hard, because you literally never hear this argument from the other direction. If Elden Ring filtered you, oh, it's not accessible enough, there's a problem with the design. But then Animal Crossing, a game you say is for everyone, when it's clearly not, I've never heard a single person say Animal Crossing needs to change to appeal to them. I've never heard anyone say that. This whole, the game doesn't have difficulty settings. It needs to appeal to a broader audience. Literally, the only kind of game you ever hear that criticism applied to is the deliberately more challenging ones like Elden Ring. Difficulty can be part of a game's vision. I really don't know what to tell you. If you're getting filtered by Elden Ring, either piss off because it's not for you, or do what literally everyone of every gamer skill level can do and has done. Get good at the FromSoft game. The reason Get Good is such a meme is because it's true, and with the sheer variety of playstyles in games like Elden Ring, there's really no excuse for not getting good other than you just not wanting to, and it's okay if you don't want to, but if you don't want to get good at the FromSoft game, that is you quitting the game. It is not the game forcing you away from it. Please stop getting these two things mixed up. It's really obnoxious. Remake Legend of Dragoon says, I've been loving the DLC and I'm almost done with it, but there is no good reason for a lack of difficulty modes. Modders can make those day one, so there's no reason FromSoft can't. Okay, the reason is that they don't want to do it, and that is all the reason they need. It's their game. If it's not for you, that's not their fault. I'm so sick of this. And like, if it, you know what? I'm done after this one. It's like, also, if modders can do it day one, then play the game modded and stop complaining about somebody who had a vision for a game that you got filtered by, because you just can't be fucked to play the game more and get through it with some challenge like everyone else who plays it. How fucking dare people play video games to be challenged these days? What assholes developers are for providing a challenge to gamers. I don't want the challenge, and therefore the challenge should be erased from the identity of the thing, even though I'm the one that picked up the hard game and knew it would be a hard game. This meme is just like, this is the most perfect meme of all time. You bought the hard game by the hard game developer, and you're upset that it's hard. If I go buy a Mario Kart game, I'm getting a Mario Kart game. If I go buy a Call of Duty game, I'm getting a Call of Duty game. This is what I mean when I say this argument is never applied to anyone except the harder games. No one is asking other games to fundamentally change themselves because they need to fit a broader audience. You know what you're getting when you buy the FromSoft hard game. I don't get this. Why is it okay when other companies have a vision, but it's not okay when that vision doesn't appeal to everyone who doesn't want to play it? If you don't want to play it, why should they fucking care what you think? They shouldn't. And the fact that you think they should is a huge, huge problem with the direction the industry is going in. A game for everyone is a game for no one. Toodles.